and you've heard Cat speak and others about native plants. So I brought a few that are in the green world. I mean, we pour it in soil and then we pull it back out. Tell them you saw it here. Okay. Firm up the edges a little bit and test the depth and where you want it. You never want, see, we're getting a few little technical tips. You never want to bury up this trunk, especially on most natives like Ceanothus and Manzanita. That's almost certain death from root rot. Plants are quite tricky in that there's a lot of differentiation. The cells in a plant are not all the same. There's roots, there's stem, there's leaves, there's flower, there's fruit. It knows what it's doing. So this part wants to be in the air. It's called the stem. And this part is the root. It wants to be in the ground. So don't bury up the stem, and don't leave it sitting out like this, ready to plant on a job site for hours and hours or days or over the weekend. I've seen it. And expect the plant to be happy, because those roots don't think air is very cool. All right, they need oxygen in the soil. So this is a manzanita. You can see the little fruit are reminiscent of little apples, which is what manzanita means in Spanish. And the reason why I brought manzanita and Ceanothus, which is also called California lilac, is that these are the quintessential shrubs of California, and you almost cannot have a native plant garden that does not include manzanita and Ceanothus. They're all different types. Ceanothus that get low, high, medium, high, medium, low. Manzanita that are high, like 25 feet, medium, like 8 feet, low, like 2 feet, ground covers. And so you can go online and see them, or come out to the nursery and see the 40 or 50 manzanitas that we grow and the same number of Ceanothus. This is a ground cover Ceanothus from Central Coast around San Simeon area. This is a peninsular manzanita from our own hills. So I'm not doing a strict botanical planting here. I'm doing a representation of sort of coastal hills. What we like around here with a little polish. I call the gardens that you're going to be building in your house, and many of you already have, miniature ecosystems with a little bit of tender care or polish. So you are building, should have pruning shears. You are building a garden which will function like an ecosystem and look like an ecosystem because you've taken the time to design it with these principles in mind. But it will have just a little bit of shinier leaves, a little bit bigger flowers, a little more tailored, a little bit more of a little tamer. It won't be so dry in the summer or whatever happens out in the wild. I'm not saying your garden has to look that way in your front yard, because it's tended ecosystems in miniature. So I've got manzanita, Ceanothus. This is a shrub. It's going to get good size. This is coffee berry. I wanted to use one in here, and I think I will. I'm going to put a 4-inch in here, and we're going to bonsai this thing over time. It's going to stay about 8 inches tall, even though in the wild, in the ground, not the wild, but in the garden, it might get 6 feet tall. We're going to keep this thing at about 8 inches because we like this broad leaf right there. That's where we're at on that. So here's one in flower. Okay, time for some soil and some rocks. Coming right up. I'm almost out of time. Some rocks coming in here pretty quick. Here's a cool burl. You know, I brought in lots of sticks here at your own house too. This type of stuff with the woodpecker holes and everything. And so oak woodland, green, lush, beautiful. Need some rocks. I brought in some really cool white sort of mudstone from around here, close by. You can see here's the caked, cracked mud bed. This is right here from San Juan Capistrano. Brought these little grasses. Can't go wrong with little grassland look. Again, these plants probably should be a little more, not quite so dry. So this is looking crowded and complex, but heck, have fun. Or go simpler. And then what you can do on these container gardens, even though we're really trying to, I'm hoping you're applying these principles to your own garden and saying, yes, I see, this doesn't need a big space to have a habitat-style garden of water-conserving California native. Here's this little rare Dudleya from the Laguna Beach area that we have at our nursery. It's a potted bonsai-style representation, but I have chosen plants that when this thing gets this tall, it'll sort of max out in this pot. It won't be able to get much bigger. This will cascade over and start to really cover. This will also cascade over and cover. This will come out here. This we're going to keep low. Remember, 8 to 10 inches of a little bonsai, and then the grasses.